Now, as for whether or not Steele should resign, as I say, that's now up to General Powell. I have issued my fatwa, and I pass the baton to him. But let me go a little further with it. Do I agree with his comment? I said he was half right, but he's also half wrong. We were attacked by al-Qaeda. They were based in Afghanistan. Afghanistan was given, well, the Taliban gave safe haven to al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. This is indisputable. If anything, we should have pounded the hell out of this enemy with nearly everything we had well before now. But that doesn't appear to be our plan. We don't fight wars the way we used to in this country. That is what it is. But I'll tell you what I get tired of. I get tired of people trying to be the first to issue statements or go on the air demanding resignations, not because something these people have done, but because of what they mistakenly said or said in passing. There seems to be a mad dash to the microphones and cameras. He ought to resign. He ought to quit. Get him out of there. I know words have consequences, but for crying out loud, so do actions. I've watched over the weekend the spectacle of Obama and Bite Me and Bill Clinton praising Robert Byrd, saying, yeah, he had to join the Klan. After all, he had to get elected. They're praising Robert Byrd as if he was the great civil rights leader of our time. Clinton even referred to Byrd's involvement in the Klan as a passing youthful event. But the fact is, Byrd was a segregationist leader for a good part of his early Senate career. He helped lead the filibuster of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, not because of constitutional concerns, but because he was a segregationist. I didn't hear any criticism of this from too many circles, certainly not the media and the liberals. Yet there's Obama heaping praise on the guy, as did Bite Me and Clinton. Now, these are leaders of the Democrat Party. Should they resign? I mean, you look at what they have rewritten history about one of this nation's leading segregationists who led a filibuster against their most prized legislative accomplishment, the Civil Rights Act, and they're out there praising the guy and telling us, well, we need to look past it. You know, he spent the rest of his life trying to make up for this. He had to get elected, Clinton said. He had to get elected. He comes from the hollows in the hills of West Virginia. And wink, wink, we all know who was in the hollows and the hills. Guys in the white robes burning crosses. That's what Clinton said. And Byrd had to be one of those guys if he hoped to get elected. You want to compare this to Michael Steele? Anybody demanding Obama resign? Anybody demanding Bite Me resign? Anybody demanding Clinton take it back? Or explaining himself? But what bothers me, always has bothered me, is a double standard. It's actually worse than a double standard. Basically, liberals and Democrats can say or do virtually anything. I remember when Harry Reid, this was last late fall or winter, Harry Reid talked about, you know, Obama is a really great guy. He can speak with that Negro dialect when he wants to, or he can avoid the Negro dialect, depending on his audience. And I happened to mention this to a well-known media figure who had not heard it, who's liberal. And the well-known media figure, well, of course Harry Reid didn't mean... What do you mean, of course, Harry Reid didn't mean? Let me say it. Are you going to give me the benefit of it? Of course, Limbaugh didn't really mean, and Obama was a clean, particular black guy. Joe Biden really didn't mean what he said with clean, finally, articulate, finally, black guy at the head of our party. Oh, clearly he didn't mean it. They can say whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. They can filibuster civil rights legislation. They can vote against people for the Supreme Court simply because they're black. And they're excused. As long as they support the left-wing agenda. As long as they are loyal to leftist agenda items, they are excused for the most part. There are exceptions, and that is even if you are loyal to the leftist agenda and you happen to be black, they will undercut you in the Democrat Party, i.e. David Paterson, i.e. Carl McCall, i.e. this poor guy in South Carolina. And yet, somehow, Michael Steele's got to go. I'll give you another example. The beloved FDR was responsible for the internment of 110,000 Japanese Americans. Last week, liberal professors once again rated FDR our greatest president. not George Washington, who led the revolution and served as a shining example for all future presidents, not Lincoln, the great emancipator who saved the nation. Oh, no, FDR is the greatest president ever. His racist attitudes were ignored. Same, I might add, about Woodrow Wilson, who was clearly a racist. But he was full of that left-wing liberal agenda, man. He pushed us, so we'll forgive all these other little things. But I resist these demands for resignations. I did with Trent Lott. What's the point? Trent Lott's gone. He had to quit. After apologizing 25,000 times, he still had to go. I wish people were as motivated and angry about Elena Kagan, frankly, as they are about Michael Steele, who in the big scheme of things is inconsequential. Elena Kagan is not inconsequential. She's about to get a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court, where she will do incredible damage to this nation. Yet, are the same people calling for Steele's resignation, demanding Republicans in the Senate lead a filibuster to stop her? Nope. Why not? Steele doesn't speak for all conservatives and Republicans, obviously, he speaks for himself. But Kagan is going to spend the rest of her life destroying what we believe in if she's not stopped. That's her mission. She's an Obama rubber stamp. So yeah, Steele says things from time to time I disagree with. Sometimes he says things that are even odd. But the center of the universe is not the RNC. It's right here. The Excellence in Broadcasting Network. What Steele said is not worth the attention that it's received. It's getting it only because the Democrats would love to write the story that Republicans fired a black guy. That's what they want. The head of the RNC is not the Republican leader. He's not the conservative leader. That's me. He is the RNC leader. Members of the Republican National Committee will decide his fate. His term perspires in January. He's probably gone. But that's up to them. But all of you out there demanding Steele's ouster, how about demanding a filibuster of Elena Kagan?